YouTube, what's the deal? Guess who's back? Yes, it is your boy, your man, your Royals, the often imitated, never duplicated, the one and only Enrique Prince, also known as Prince the Trucker. We got Mama Prince in the passenger seat for the intro today. Mama, special shout out to you. I love you very dearly, very much. I really do appreciate your motivation and inspiration on my life and journey. You dig what I'm saying? If you are new here to the channel, make sure you do hit that like button right off the rip. It only takes a second. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content from your boy Prince the Trucker. And at the end of the video, make sure you drop a comment, a question or experience based off the topic that we're going to be speaking about today. And it is pretty much be careful what you entertain, because without a doubt, it can very much become your reality. You dig what I'm saying? Without further ado, we're gonna get into the topic at hand. Sit back, relax. Let's have a real conversation. You dig? All right, YouTube, your Royal is back. Prince the Trucker here, reporting live from the cab of the rig. You dig? Today is Friday, June 27th. It's about 11:20 p.m. I just got done driving my shift for today, so I figured I'd go ahead and lay some commentary over the video. Once again, special shout out to all the truckers that move this weight every day, make the sacrifice for themselves and their family to live a better quality of life, because that's all we try and do. Improve the culture and make this money at the same time. You dig? Yeah, so with that, YouTube, it's been about 2 weeks since Prince the Trucker has dropped a video here on the channel. You've been keeping up with the content. You kind of noticed the pattern by now. I definitely don't drop videos every single day. I'm not really content hungry. That's not the purpose of my channel. I'm really just in a season of my life where I'm very focused and I'm very determined and I'm very passionate about putting in what's required to get the result that I seek. You know what I mean? And I'm the type of person where I know what that takes. You know what I'm saying? I'm mentally strong, so I have to be all in as far as my execution, so that once I start hitting different pillars within the process, I can approach it a different way, if that makes sense. I've been trucking before. I have about a decade of experience under my belt, from working in the oil fields of Oklahoma, moving big oil rig equipment, to team driving with Covenant Transport, to becoming a trainer in that same company, and then having to sit down for 4 years due to a personal decision. And I've been back in the game for about 6 months after a 4-year hiatus, and 6 months back in the driver's seat, and I gotta say, it has definitely showed me a lot about myself, things that I already knew and things that I'm just discovering. And that's why I'm so thankful for the trucking industry, because it's the perfect blend of liberation, pressure, and hard work. And we all know pressure makes diamonds, you know what I'm saying? I'm someone who works best alone, but can work with a group of people. And this occupation has given me full reign to really discover what I want out of life and where I'm headed, you know? So I'm truly thankful for the trucking industry. Now with that, we're gonna go into the topic of today's video, which is be careful what you entertain, because it can become your reality. You understand? When you are setting a course and a path for your life, things obviously are going to occur within that journey. A lot of us become comfortable with our circumstance or our situation. And obviously I'm speaking mainly to the truckers when it comes to mentality, because as you guys and gals know, I'm all about the motivation and inspiration for the situation. You have to be mentally strong as well as spiritually strong and even physically to be able to endure the pressures and the expectations of the trucking industry. But not just that, right? In life, you know, when I say be careful what you entertain, I'm really talking about your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your actions, right? Your mind tells the body what to do. And let's be real, it's the year 2025. A lot of us get caught up in superficial things. A lot of us talk a good talk about what we want to do, how our life's going to go, and what we want to achieve. But when I sit down, because I have a lot of time to think, and I look at the people around me and what they say opposed to what they do, I found one very important thing is that a lot of times, and we all do it, I do it too, we're human beings, right? Nobody's perfect. But we spend a lot of time entertaining things that don't serve the purpose of what we're trying to achieve. So let's break this down a little further, YouTube. What Prince the Trucker is getting at is, as you mature in this life, as you age, right? As you start setting goals for yourself, things that you actually want to experience in this lifetime, like having a home, for example, or buying that sports car that you've always dreamed of, or maybe starting a family, opening up your own business, you know, things of this nature. It's important that we develop a certain mindset towards that. You know, it comes a point in time where you have to stop playing games with your own mind and what people think, and really start applying everything that you've learned in this life. You know, me, for example, I was in the military. I got my CDL. I've held a couple of occupations that were noteworthy. I've had a couple of great seasons in my life where I've expressed to you guys before that I was able to live a certain way outside of the hood where I come from, and really just see a different aspect of life. But I've only reached a certain point. You know what I mean? It's cool to make $80,000 to $100,000 a year, but at the end of the day, what is the mark? What is the legacy behind everything that you've experienced? You know, we're creatures of habit. We get into a position and we get comfortable and we figure that's the way that life is supposed to be. I've always challenged myself mentally. I've accomplished great things and I fell from grace, but I've always been able to get back up. And that is the motivating factor for this season of my life and why I'm so thankful. And hopefully you're in the same position. Look, if you're just starting off in this industry, you have a lot to look forward to. And it all starts with the things that you entertain. Okay? Let's get into some talking points that I think are going to help you with this mentality. Now, the first one is pretty obvious, right? You have to know why you're here and the purpose behind your hustle, right? We have to understand that in this world, there are no handouts, bruh. Nobody is going to come around you and hand you something. I don't care what your personality is, what your character is. I mean, and let's be honest, even if you were everything in the eyes of what somebody else wanted you to be, would you truly feel fulfilled within yourself if somebody just gave you something? Think about that for a second. Right? That's why believing in God and applying yourself is very, very important. You got to know why you wake up every day. You got to see that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You know what I'm saying? This is an everyday occurrence. This isn't like, okay, I worked hard for 3 days this week, I'm going to take 8 days off. Not in today's time. You know, I've been around plenty of owners, millionaires, people who have worked all their life to achieve things, and they think a certain way. They don't just go around handing things out to people. You know, even if they're loyal, in their mind, that's how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to show up to work thankful, putting your best foot forward. You aren't owed anything extra because you are building the foundation of your life. And I think that's something that a lot of us, young and old, get confused. Yo, I'm here, I showed up, I deserve more than the next person because I'm contributing to the situation. That is such a minute mentality. You understand? The old school hustlers, they kept hustling and hustling and hustling, saving their money, doubling up, investing their money until something broke through. Until they were able to put that money that we talk about and that hustle into something that they truly believe in. And that's one thing that I'm recognizing. That's one thing that I've always recognized, right? And it's funny how you have to relive certain chapters of your life to understand this. Look, if you're in a position to make money every single day and it's respectable money, you are ahead of the curve. You are in a position where you definitely got to be careful about what you entertain and what thoughts you allow to creep in your head, because the only way to boss up and become the person that you want to become is to have a sharpened focus on the end result. It's really that simple. You understand? That brings me into the next point of being careful what you entertain, because it can become your reality, YouTube. When I say things like people think that they deserve extra because they showed up and because they're loyal, I'm not saying that those things don't mean anything, right? But at the end of the day, it all comes down to pushing through and respecting yourself. This game is about respect at the end of the day. I don't care how you're being treated. I don't care if you go to a job and the general attitude is kind of like a slave mentality, right? Everybody comes in, nobody questions the boss, nobody says anything out of order because they're so thankful to be in the position they're in. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just being so in line that you don't recognize that respect is the first line of everything. You are a royal. People will only treat you the way you allow them to. I don't care what process you're in. That's part of the boss up phase. Yeah, I can be loyal. Yeah, I can show up. Yeah, I can build the foundations of my process. But at some point, if you disrespect my mind, if you disrespect the intellect that I bring, the hustle, oh yeah, we got to cut that off. And sometimes it's not immediate, right? Sometimes you got to keep showing up and keep showing up. But you don't have to keep taking the disrespect, right? Respect is key. Respect comes before anything. And that is very important when I say you have to be careful about what you entertain. Because if you're entertaining things in your process that don't breed respect, when you're putting in the time, you're putting in the loyalty, you're putting the intellect, you're putting in the patience, the passion, the understanding, then I'm be the first to tell you, that's when you know it's time to level up. Because people will treat you the way that you allow them to. And that's just human nature. You understand? Man, YouTube, it's crazy when I'm making these videos because we could talk about this topic for 2 hours straight. I need to start podcasting, right? But I can only fit so much in a 20-minute video. The last thing that I want to leave with y'all, as far as being careful what you entertain, is nobody really expects you to boss up, right? Nobody really expects you to formulate, separate, and elevate from a situation that you created. Let's be real. A lot of the things that happen to you in your life are based off of personal decisions, actions that you've executed. Things rarely happen by accident. They're usually on purpose. Purpose is the key word. So if you rammed your head, up against the wall 20 times, but you dodged it the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd time, you're on the right track. And that's all that matters. Understand that the older you get, the more you mature, the more that you're supposed to acquire wisdom, the more that you're supposed to be able to actually apply the same things that you tell people on a daily basis. It's up to you to change your circumstances. It's up to you to change your life. It's up to you to change your outcome. If it was easy, everybody would do it. I'm thankful for my journey. I'm thankful for my ups and downs. And I'm really motivated to see how I'm able to produce the outcome that I seek in my life. And I hope you are too. Understand, what you entertain in your daily life is definitely going to become your reality. If you feel like you're wasting time and nothing's happening the way that you want it to, 9 times out of 10, you are. You've been built a certain way. You've been built to know right from wrong and understand why things are happening the way they're happening. And all I'm here to do is to recalibrate those thoughts and tell you, be careful what you accept, be careful what you entertain, because when you look at your reality, it's likely a product of those things. You do understand that though, right? With all that being stated, YouTube, I'm about to get up out of here. I got to get up early in the morning to grab my coffee and be on my way to Texas. But listen, I really do appreciate your time. If anything resonated with you in the video and you definitely can relate and or you just want to support Prince the Trucker on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't hit it already, my day ones have hit it. But if you have not, make sure you smack that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We definitely are trying to see 3K before the end of the year. Hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any time I drop a new video. As always, I really do appreciate your support. Hey, stay on your grind. Keep your money on your mind. And take 1 mile at a time. You do understand that though, right? It is often imitated, never duplicated, the one and only Enrique Prince, also known as Prince the Trucker. We will catch you in the next video. You did. Peace, love, and respect.